Oh yeah, I remember this guy. That's me waking up this morning, looking at the charts, seeing the Bitcoin bear crashing the altcoin party that we have all been enjoying for the last few days. Hey, what's up guys? Node Investor here. Want to bring an update on these markets as we are witnessing a big pullback here today. Markets were sitting Bitcoin was sitting very tight. Many of the alts had shown very strong breakouts, very nice moves over the last couple of days. And I posted in my Slack group yesterday saying, waiting for Bitcoin to join this party and rock the altcoin market. Just a matter of which direction is it going to rock it. And of course, it broke to the downside. We saw this. Mr. Bart showed up. And I was looking for a little bit of a bounce here. I was thinking I would do a little bit of a short hedge. Couldn't even get a bounce, straight down to the next level. And so we'll take a deep dive look at the charts. We'll look at a few of the alts. We were showing some very strong moves in the alts yesterday. Tron was going higher. Cardano was moving up. We started to see a lot of names breaking out, moving off the lows with some good volume. And boom, Bitcoin shows up and kind of smacks this whole thing down. So I'm going to take a big look at this, kind of deep dive into some important levels. But before we do that, quick look at the coin market cap here. You can see just right across the board, as expected, Bitcoin down a whopping 9% as I record this, Ripple down 10%, and of course many of the other alts double digits with this move, as they generally will have a higher beta and outsize the move up and down. And this is a dramatic move lower, so you're seeing a lot of these alts just kind of taking a big hit. It's quite unfortunate because I was liking so many good setups that were really getting out there, and we just needed to see prices just push through and would really kick things off, but that did not happen. BTC, or excuse me, not the BTC dominance, the coin market cap look here, you can see it was just kind of sitting tight. And of course the big smackdown here today, very quickly going from almost that 138 billion mark quickly down to 122 billion. So big move lower. Let's take a look at the charts here. So this is what I'm watching. Just keep in mind here, when I did the live stream earlier this week, I cautioned. I said this is a good bounce, but I cautioned, and I said keep in mind we are still in a bear market. We are bouncing into the 10 EMA on the weekly. Volume has been declining on this bounce, and so that was just some cautionary note. It doesn't mean that we're going to resume the downtrend and make new lows. We certainly could, but I said if we fail here, we fail the breakouts. I was actually hoping for a push through that resistance above 4,100 and then expecting some selling pressure to the chart showing up around that 4,300. We didn't even get that. And so what I was looking for is a reversal from that point and a pullback, making a higher weekly low, or at least testing the December lows there and potentially forming a double bottom here on this weekly chart, and then of course retesting that breakdown point later on in February or March. So that's what I was looking for on the weekly time frame. But it is important to note that we did see the sellers start showing up again on this bounce right around that 10 EMA, right at some key resistance on this weekly chart. So that just further solidifies that resistance zone. Now that we've tested it again, just really puts a line in the sand there. The battle continues there around that 4,100 level, and we're seeing a pullback now. The question is, how low does it go from here? Is this just a pullback, a retest? This is day one of that pullback, so a lot will be determined on how this bounce progresses today. If we see a bounce, if we start to undercut the support levels very quickly. Near term, however, prices are reaching a little bit of an oversold condition on this 4-hour chart. You can see the RSI here very quickly moved down to the teens before bouncing a little bit here. We're still in the 20s as I record this, but prices here on the Coinbase exchange, we're in the $3,500 range again very quickly. And this is what I was watching here. Let me take off the indicators. And so you can see where prices landed right now. It makes sense that we're seeing a little bit of support show up there. This was a prior high back here on December 9th, another prior high here on December 18th. That's the part that broke out. We retested that here again December 27th and have since been moving higher off that level. And today, that is where this pullback so far has landed. But the momentum is very strong to the downside. We are oversold near term. I'm looking for a little bit of a bounce. But right now, I'm taking more of a bearish stance because of that daily and weekly chart view. The downtrend is still very much down. This was a nice bounce off the lows, but it looks to have fizzled out now. So as I said, the line in the sand is clearly that 4100 level. Yes, we had a quick wick over that, couldn't really close above that for more than a day, so I'm discounting that a little bit. If you go to the daily chart, you can see what I'm talking about here. On a daily level, the close above 4100 has not been there yet since the entire month of December. Last time we were above that level was back here at the end of November, and that's going to be not much further ahead, just 4260 there. And so that's really the level to be watching on the upside if we can continue to find some support. So right now, key support level around that 3600 level on a daily closing basis. Break below that, pretty good chance we're going to retest the lows, or at least get close to these lows and hopefully make a higher low. Many of the other alts, as we know, are taking the same hit, if not more so. If we look at them from the BTC pair perspective, here's ETH, was the strong leader. A couple of days ago, it was looking like it may have found some support around that 10 EMA on the daily, but has today broken below that and is really accelerating lower. You look at the 4-hour chart here, seeing some selling pressures show up. Not any divergences, nothing to be aware of here. So just pretty much the momentum has shifted since ETH topped, and this is a big move lower. Looking at Ripple, Ripple was trying to find a low yesterday. It was looking like it wanted to get going again. I was watching this support level hit a couple of times, was moving off of that. If we zoom in on the shorter time frames here, Ripple was showing some nice action here late yesterday, my evening, and volume was coming in, and that quickly fizzled out as Bitcoin began to break down. Looking at Tron, Tron was leading the pack, moving very strongly. I think at one point was up 48% on the week, and since the peak, and this was just going parabolic yesterday, already down about 20% since that top. If we go to the daily view, big reversal candle on that daily chart. Look at that big move, massive volume coming in here. And so very bearish looking from that perspective. Cardano was another big winner versus BTC. Big outside reversal candle forming here today. Yes, the daily candle has not finished yet. There's plenty of time left on this candle as I record this, but this is not shaping up to print a nice day here today. So caution remains. The bears are back. Sellers are in control at this point. It was that big breakdown in BTC. So I'm not going to be doing any trading here today. I'm going to be taking it slow at this point and just kind of waiting for this to play out, looking for a potential bounce. I was liking Icon, another trade that was working out nicely, and then just got smacked down. Now, luckily, there's stops in place to mitigate the damage, right? And still take a hit, but it still takes a hit on the overall account when everything gets stopped out. And so there's some lessons there that I'm going to go over, total risk exposure, all that stuff, just because there's such a high degree of correlation in the crypto space when you're trading. You really want to manage your total risk exposure, because as we've seen today, there's always a good chance that if Bitcoin breaks down, everything's going to break down and take out all your stops. So just something to make note of here. I was in EOS as well. I'll post all the details here on the next Trading Bitcoin updates episode, but I was in EOS, was moving nicely, looking like it wanted to break out of that ascending triangle pattern, and broke lower there, but I had already moved the stop up a little bit on that, so it didn't take the full hit. Same with Ontology. Ontology yesterday was moving off the lows here, if I can find it. There it is. Breaking out of this little range that it had been in, and I jumped in right at the breakout point and was up about 12% or so at the peak yesterday, 13%. And so I moved my stop up just a little bit, didn't move it that high up. So, I mean, certainly above the break-even point, but did not capture that entire move. My target was for a move up to this prior resistance here. Would have made for about a 16% trade on that move. Didn't reach that target. And then, of course, with this reversal, got taken out of that position here. So back to the drawing board. We'll see how some of these alts shape up. They were looking nice yesterday, but this is a big reversal. Generally not a good sign in the big picture, so just something to keep in mind. We'll look at a few more quickly. Litecoin, pulling right back to the 10 EMA, was one of the leaders as well. Not looking too bad here on the BTC pair. This could set up for a nice secondary entry point, looking like it might want to retest this breakout point. So one I'm going to keep an eye on here. And last but not least, Neo. Looking at Neo, this one did run all the way up to that resistance level that I was watching. That was kind of the target on the upside there, and it has since pulled right back from that. It did overshoot a little bit, but this reversal here today does not look good. So we'll see if it can hold above this EMA pair, hold this rising trend line. But no doubt, right now the momentum favors the sellers. If you go to the shorter time frames, just a lot of selling volume coming in here on this move, and every little bounce, every little rally attempt at this point is being sold into. So going back to the Bitcoin chart here, again, as I said, gonna just take it easy today, watch the markets over the next day or two, see how they play out. But what I'm gonna be looking for is, if this support can hold, I'm gonna be looking for a bounce, but I'm expecting that that bounce will likely see some selling pressure, a bounce maybe into the 10 EMA, so that'd be around 3780, 3800, around there by the time that bounce happens. And then if it starts to fizzle out, then looking for a retest of that support, and most likely a break below that. And so a bounce would allow this RSI to cool off a little bit, let the MACD tick up a little bit. So those are the signs I'm looking for. This RSI starts to hit that 40 zone, I'm going to begin to get cautious there. Of course, we could always see a surprise reversal and a retest to the upside, but that's the least likely scenario at this point. So just wanted to bring that update, guys. Appreciate you watching. I will post another update either later today or early tomorrow, depending on how things look. Until next time, take care, everyone.